Okay, we're up to day 5. Let's see what they have in store for us. Oh, we've gone to another basement. The sleigh launch safety manual won't print correctly. We have to fix that. Safety protocols clearly indicate that new pages for the safety manuals must be printed in a very specific order. Okay, the notation X pipe Y means that if both page number X and page number Y are to be produced as part of an update, page X must be printed at some point before page Y. Okay, so then we have a bunch of page ordering rules and then pages to produce from the update. Okay, here we go. First section specifies page ordering rules, 1 per line. The first rule, 47 by 53, means that an update includes both 47 and 53. Then 47 must be printed before 53. Okay, so that makes kind of sense. The second section specifies the page numbers of each update, because most blah, 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 the pages needed in the updates are different too. The first update, blah, 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 means the update consists of those page numbers, okay? So you need to know which updates are already in the right order. So the first update, 75, 47, blah, blah, blah. 75 is correctly first because there are rules that put each other page after it. Okay, so I believe that. 47 is correctly second because 75 must be before it, and every other page must be after it. Okay, why do we care if 75 is before it? Because we've already established that on the first one. Anyway, 61 is correctly in the middle because 75 and 47 are before it, and 53 and 29 are after it. So again, I don't understand why we need to know about before it, because we've already established that from the other rules. All right. And then 53 is correctly fourth because it's before page number 29. Okay. And 29 is the only page left and is correctly last. All right. Because the first update does not... Okay. Okay, I think we can probably start the coding here and then maybe come back if there's a problem. I'm not too sure I understand why they're talking about the things coming before, because all we need to know is what comes after, I think. But, all right, let's see it. If not, we can always come back and fix it. Do we have... Oh, here we go. Here's our test data up here, right? So we'll take our test data. And we'll wander over to our terminal. mkdir05. I am going to go and stick this straight into a data section here. I'm not going to mess around with variables. So there's our input data. So I guess first thing we have to do is to read it in. Now it's in 2 sections by the looks of it. So there's a blank line between the two. So what we can do is read up to the first blank line. Those are the rules. And then read up to the end, and those are the updates. Okay, so we're going to keep a list of what precedes what. So 47 precedes 53. So I guess probably a hash is the easiest way to do that. So we have a hash whose key is 47. Oh, and look, we can have 147 there, but we've also got a 47... a 47 there and a 47 there. So the following things have to be a list. It can't just be 47 goes to 53. So, okay, we can handle that. So we're going to have a hash. Let's call it precedes. Oh, okay, equals initially empty. So we're going to read from data. Okay, and that's going to stop if it hits end of file. We're not expecting it to hit end of file, but it might. We're going to read our lines in. When you read from data, you actually get a new line at the end, so we have to say line equals line dot strip. Okay, so now let's test to see if we've reached that separator. So we're going to do break if line dot empty. And what that means is the next time we do a read, we'll start reading the updates. Okay, so then before, after equals line dot split on a vertical bar. And we're just going to set up proceeds after. Now it's going to be a list, remember. So the kind of colloquial way to do that in Ruby is to say, precedes before. Okay, so if that is set, then that's going to be logically true. Otherwise, it's not. So what I can do then is say RR equals an empty list. So that's going to initialize it to an empty list if it is not already set. And then I am going to stick my after field at the end of it. Okay, and let's be superstitious, and I should just see that that's working correctly. Also, right now, I'm just leaving these as strings. I don't see any point in converting them to numbers. Not yet, anyway. All right, so let's stop. Let's save that away. Bring up a terminal. Okay. So there's our 47 with this full thing. Yeah, okay. So far, so good. All right, so now we have all of our precedences, if that's what they're called, in. I guess it's time to start reading in the data. Let's actually go back and see what the actual instructions were here. Here we go. The middle page number of the valid ones. Oh, we got to sum the middle page number of the valid ones. Of course we do. What else would be reasonable? Okay, so we're going to have a sum. Maybe we'll replace that with a reduce. We don't know yet. While. So now we're going to get, actually we might as well just use, we don't have a while in here. We'll just go data.each line. So that's going to read an update line. And I guess what we're going to do is to, well, we've got to split the updates out. It's what is it? It's a comma. So line.split, comma. So then I guess we need to say if it is valid, then we need to get the middle. So we could say something like if valid updates sum plus equals middle of. That seems pretty straightforward. So now we have to write two functions, valid and middle of. Well, you know what? Middle of is the easier one, so I'm going to write that one first. So we're going to have middle of some list of updates. So we can only have a middle element if the list is odd, right? So let's just make a test for that, because that's an assumption I'm making. I don't actually know what the full data looks like. All of the examples we've had so far have got 5 or 3, but we don't know what the real data set. So I'm going to assume they're all odd, but whenever I assume, I'm going to stick an assertion in there just to make sure that I'm not wrong. So let's see, we're going to say, so something like fail So with the update, have no middle unless the length is odd. So if the length is not odd, we're going to fail. Otherwise, we're just going to return, what do they call it, updates. And that's going to be integer division rounding down. Well, actually, it's not going to round at all because it's odd, right? So there's middle of. And all we have to do now is write valid. And we're passing that the updates. All right, so let's just see if we've got anywhere here. We'll just say true for valid now and just make sure that we're outputting some kind of number. Nope, that's gone wrong. Then equals update. Well, it should be updates. Ooh, dear, oh dear, oh dear. Undefined method, blah, 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 blah. Oh, somehow I've lost the initialization of sum. Oh, maybe I hadn't. Ah, so yeah, okay, so that's actually going to be returning the string in the middle. So I need to convert that to an integer, or at least that one. Okay. So it didn't blow up. Let's say we should actually output the sum. Okay, so and that should be way bigger than the correct number, which is 143, because we said everything is valid. Cool. So what do we have to do to see if it is valid? So we have a list of pages. So we got pages. Those are our page lists. And what we need to make sure is that A precedes all of those. Yeah? So A has to precede B, C, D, and E. And B has to precede C, D, E, and E, etc., etc. Which is actually the same, isn't it, as saying D has to precede E, C has to precede D. Is that true? I'm wondering what happens if you've got A is preceded by B and C, then D is preceded by B, E is preceded by C. We don't necessarily know that E is preceded by D. So we actually have to start at the A end and go through to the other end. Okay. Let's think about it. We're going to compare A and say, does A precede all of those? And then if it does, then we're going to have a look at B and say, does B precede C, D, E, etc., etc.? Okay, so we're going to shift our way through the update list and check that the current head is greater than all the rest. Okay, we can do that. That sounds like we're going to be mutating that list, so let's take a quick copy of it. Let's say updates equals updates.dupe. Okay, so we could do something like while okay, so we've taken the front one off, but we know we now also have something left at the end. So for all the remaining updates, we want to say, does the current one precede the particular update we're looking at? Okay, so it's going to be something like so Okay, so if that's false, we're going to return false. So unless updates.all, return false. Otherwise, we return true. Okay. I wonder if I've got that proceeds the right way around. Let's find out the hard way. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. I am having a bad time. Wrong number of arguments for include. Oh. Zero, so it's saying that none of them are valid. Okay, so it's time to do just a little bit of thinking here. So what I've got is I have my, here we go. I have a hash that says that this precedes that. So the key is the one before, and then the value is the one afterwards. So I guess what we could do, just as a quick bit of debug here, is to say p current updates precde. Okay, that's going to generate a lot of stuff, but oh, well, first of all, we've got a\n, so we're forgetting to strip something somewhere. Where's that going to come from? That's in proceeds. We strip the line there. Let's just see if we do. No, we don't. There is no new line there. Oh, it's on the updates. That's the problem. So what I have to do is to, where are we reading those? Here. Okay. Line equals line dot strip. How to get rid of that? I can probably get rid of that top bit of debugging too. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh, okay. So it's possible that we'll have a page that does not have a constraint on it. So how do we handle that? So we want this to be true if it includes, oh, okay. So we can use, Ruby has a nice short circuit. In JavaScript, it's question mark, but in Ruby, it's ampersand to say only do the second part here if the first part is not nil. So I wonder if that's going to fix this. Okay, so we get 143, which is the correct answer. Well, would you look at that? Okay, so we'll get rid of a little bit of debugging here. Yeah, okay. 143. Cool. All right, so let us now put in our puzzle input. A copy back over here. And then we'll delete the old stuff. Okay. So, fingers crossed. 6242. 6242. Oh, excellent. Okay, continue to part 2. Sounds like fun. You have a little time to fix the rest of them. For each of the incorrectly ordered updates, use the page ordering rules to put the pages in the right order. Here are the 3 incorrectly ordered updates. Okay. And then we do the middle thing again. So, is this a topological sort? No, it's not that complicated. It's just a regular sort, isn't it? We sort it, but the comparison function isn't, we don't compare the numbers. We compare simply whether one is before the other one, right? And if it is, then we consider it to be less than. And that should sort it okay. Famous last words. Let's go up here. And we go back to our editor buffer. So now our main code here is going to be if not valid. Okay, so then what we're going to do is fixed equals fix updates. Sum please equals middle of fixed. Okay, and I really hope this is going to be as simple as it sounds. So fix updates is going to be, so Ruby has a sort, and by default it uses sorts on natural order, but you can pass it a block. And when you pass it a block, then you return -1, 0, or +1, depending on whether A is less than, equal to, or greater than B. So in this particular case, I think what we want to say is something like precedes A dot include B. If that's the case, we will return -1, otherwise +1. I can pretty much guarantee that I've got that the wrong way around, because I always do. Every single time I use this, I always get it the wrong way around. And then what I do is I correct it, and it turns out it was actually right the first time. But let's see what happens here. And just to sort of double check, we'll use the test data and we'll output let's think it'll be the original ones. Goes to fixed. And we'll go get our original test data again, back over here. Copy over here. Manage your clipboard, Thomas. Manage your clipboard. Copy V. Okay, so let's come back to what the output is supposed to look like. Okay, so we should see 75 and 97 becomes 97, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so let's see what happens. Of course, it just blows up. Oh, and exactly the same problem I had in the previous time. I just never learn. Okay, so we have 75, 97, 47, 61, 53 becomes 97, 75, 47, 61. Good Lord, it looks like it's working. Next line, 61, 29, 13, 97, 75, 47, 29, 13. Hey, look at that. And we get 1, 2, 3, which is what we're supposed to get. Okay, so we'll get rid of our tracing. And we will go and fetch our data again. I really should have just stashed that somewhere. Okay, save that away. It says 5169. Okay. 5169. Look at that. Wow. Cool. All right, so that was actually kind of fun. I don't know if they deliberately put all those red herrings in there, but it was kind of interesting, like how nervous I was thinking about that. Let's go back up here and have a look at the actual code. Not much to the start point there. So valid looks pretty simple. I mean, you basically just go through it, and I mean, you could I don't know if you could do this using reduce or not. It would be a bit trickier. Could probably be done. And honestly, I think the fact I have this duplication here is not good. What I really want to do then is to write a function called proceeds, which takes two values and then just does that for me. Yeah, I would definitely want to do that. So in the kind of like, when I was going back and looking through this code, that would be probably the first change I'd make. This could be a reduce, I think. I could use data.eachline.reduce. Am I going to? Not this time. Otherwise, I'm kind of surprised that the second part came down to something as simple as that. I wonder if that's how you're supposed to do it, or if there was some, algorithmically clever way of doing it. But whatever. Oh yeah, that's another point though. Looking at this, here I'm doing this include to find out whether or not the current page number is in that list. And that's going to be a linear search. So we're getting up to kind of n squared-ish kind of performance there. It would be probably better if we were going to do this like for a living, to convert that from being a list of page numbers to being a set. Because the lookup then would be a lot quicker. Also, I mean, if you know the page numbers are in a particular range, you might even think about using a bitmap for that, if you really, really want to squeak the last bit of performance out. Other than that, fun little puzzle. Thank you very much, and catch you on the next one.